Irene,
Hi,
how are you? Henry,
good. Nice to meet you.
likewise. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're just waiting for a couple more people. Yeah. And we'd start out with you.
I saw that it's part of like a bigger meeting. So
Yes, that's right.
okay.
Nothing too important today, but except you.
So actually I realized I looked at your site and I know someone on the commission, Karen Shorwanka.
Yeah.
Oh.
She knew my grandmother and worked with her for a long time.
Oh, wow.
So I hope she's joining tonight. I haven't seen her in a while.
Well, she does. You won't see her if she does join us. She doesn't have a visual access. She joins by phone, so
I see.
yeah, we'll see. I did leave her a message earlier on today. I hope she will make it. Well, yeah, we've got Janice is on and Leslie. Hi, Leslie.
Hello.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad.
I'm watching this stormy weather and wondering what's going to happen next.
Well, it's raining here now.
Yeah.
Oh, hi, Janice.
And windy. Hi.
But you've still got power. My power has flickered a couple times.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, where are you, Irene? What part of state is you in?
I'm in Cambridge.
Okay. You don't have those kinds of problems. The precarity of living in rural Massachusetts.
Yeah.
But my sister lives in Pelham, in what used to be our grandparents' house. So I know that area well. So I was so excited to get to know the Shutesbury Historical Commission a little bit.
Right. Yeah, let me just get a little paperwork here while we wait. I think, let's see, we've got several people. Nobody there to admit yet.
Not seen yet.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the name of the archivist.
Oh, my name is Irene Gates.
Hi, Irene. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Leslie's our former town clerk who has the most knowledge about what's in the closets and in the old town hall, in the archives and stuff. Former town clerk, I should say, not old.
Both. Either apply.
So Leslie, did you meet with the former roving archivist?
Yes, when the new town clerk did the humidity temperature studies for the vault, but not for it wasn't, the historical records were not included in that.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if folks forgot about this meeting.
Well, Miriam said she called me. Maybe she called you. I don't know if I missed that prior conversation.
Yeah. I'm aware Miriam's not going to be here tonight.
And Mary Lou sent in that she's not coming.
She's not coming.
No.
Oh, here we go. And we have a guest tonight, Andrew Chabot.
And Miriam was concerned that Karen may or may not phone in, so there might not be a quorum.
No,
Miriam told me that she would sign in at 6:30 as soon as she was done with her other commitment.
yeah,
And
no,
we could just talk in the meantime without opening the meeting.
yeah. Well, I spoke to her since she spoke with you, and she's apparently got a very bad migraine, so
Oh, dear.
she's not going to
Oh.
make it at all.
Oh,
Well, when did you talk to her? Because she called me about 5:30 and told me that
Oh.
the migraine was getting better
All right.
and
Well, you know better then.
she had a commitment, but she should be with us by 6:30 at the latest.
Yeah,
But maybe, I don't know when you talked with her.
oh, you're right then. I talked to her before then.
Okay.
That leaves Greg, who I don't see on here.
Yeah, I've got all my lights off if you're wondering why it's so dark here. I'm just not into tempting fate here.
Andrew, welcome.
Hi, nice to meet everybody.
hi.
All right.
Yes. Andrew's, we'll do a round robin of who's here in a minute. We're waiting for people.
Oh, great. Thanks.
Yep.
Hope everyone's having a nice night tonight.
Well, this could be a night we could use a backup electric here. Andrew.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if everybody
Andrew's with,
heard, but I heard somebody from my let me know that there's apparently this big pollen dust storm coming from Albany, New York, our way.
Oh,
Really?
no.
They say it's like a kind of like a massive dust storm. So
Oh, great.
I'm keeping the windows closed. So
when is it happening?
apparently it's what I was told is it's happening now and it's moved on. So I don't know
Oh,
how long that'll take, but maybe tonight.
huh.
I don't know.
Well, let's see. What are we doing for time? Six.
Henry, I just looked at the emails and Azelle said, I'm also unable to attend. My work at
Oh.
Amherst took longer than expected.
All right, that leaves Zell out. Now, Greg, he would have contact. Let me just check his email.
Yeah, I haven't seen one from him.
Hold on a second. We're really running short of people.
No.
And we're having a code red alert here, I think due to the storm.
Yeah, I
forget-
guess so. It's unfortunately. Oh, here we go. I think this is. This must be Karen.
Good.
Let's yeah.
Yep, that's her number.
Welcome, Karen.
Working on connections.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, Karen.
Hi.
Hey, good to hear from you. Here we go.
I finally got through. It's taken me 10 minutes.
Well,
Wow.
we were just waiting for you. No, there are other
Oh,
people.
I'm sorry to be
No, no.
so late.
No, there are other people. I meant it as a compliment. We really hoped you would come because someone here knows you
Oh,
or
that's
knows
good.
of you.
Yes, Karen, this is Irene Gates, Mimi Carr's granddaughter.
Oh my.
She's the archivist, Karen. Isn't that cool?
Yes.
So I looked at the website for the Historical Commission. I saw that you were on this, so I thought, oh, it's such a nice opportunity to hear from you again, Karen.
Yeah. Would you like my telephone number?
Sure, actually, I can write it down because I see it on the screen.
Oh, you can see it on the screen?
Mm-hmm. How are you doing?
Well, sounds like, I guess I'm kind of muddling through.
Good to hear you.
It's nice to be in. Nice to hear from you.
Okay. Oh, is that Greg then? Is Greg on the line?
Greg is, and is also
There you go,
Good.
Greg.
unmuted as well.
Welcome. Okay, we're all set then. And welcome everybody.
Apologies for my tardiness. In fact, I'm just going to go get a glass of water, but I'll be right back. And I'm
Sure.
here quorum-wise.
Yes. Do we have a quorum?
You finally have.
4. I think we have a quorum.
2, 3, 4. Okay, good.
So, Jonas, you'll be taking minutes.
Yes, I guess so. I haven't done the other ones yet. The 324. My work has been going crazy recently, and I've been having 2 meetings a month and working till like midnight. It's so horrible.
Yeah, no worries. In fact, we're not going to review the minutes.
Yeah, we'll wait for
tonight. We'll wait.
Yeah.
So the first order of business to get started, Irene, hope we didn't keep you waiting too long,
No, not at all.
is to discuss the archival project, one of our projects on the Historical Commission. Before I do so, I just want to make sure everybody has been introduced. So everybody met Andrew Shabat with AMP Solar. And I gather it's Michael Larkin, also with AMP, or?
Hello, folks. Yep, I am also with AMP.
Okay, well, welcome. Irene Gates is a roving archivist. Is that the correct title?
Yes.
Oh my.
The roving archivist of historical commissions.
Technically, I'm the interim roving archivist, and the regular roving archivist, Sarah Jane Poindexter, is on short-term leave. So I've been working with her, and so I'm very excited to work with the Shutesbury Historical Commission.
Great.
Thank
Great.
you.
So I'll just turn it over to you, Irene. I believe you have a short presentation, or however long you think is necessary, and we would have questions. Is that?
So I do not have a presentation.
Okay. I wanted to say a few words about what you're.
Yeah, I can introduce myself and just the Roving Archivist program and kind of tell you about the process.
Good.
And then ideally you would kind of just tell me a little bit more about your records and your situation and the guidance that you're looking for. And then from there, we'll schedule a site visit for me to come out in person, and we can do that over email. And then after that, I'll write up a customized report for you with recommendations. And then after that, you're free to be in touch with me or the program in an ongoing way. And we are kind of here to support you. So I can just, briefly introduce myself. I'm an archivist. I live in Cambridge, and I've been working as an archivist for the past 8 years. And in so the Roving Archivist program, I joined last August, and we provide guidance to small sites around the state. So these can be historical commissions or historical societies, schools, churches, anything. So any organization that has historical records. So typically, because of the pandemic, this process has been a little bit different than usual. But typically, I try to have a conversation with the site before the site visit, just to get a sense of, just to get more information from you about what you're, looking for from me, what I can help you with. And then, so as you tell me information tonight, I'll take notes. And then ideally I could come out there sometime in the next, 2 or 3 weeks to just see, the records in person. And, again, as I said, our conversation is a chance for me to from you and for you to tell me as much information as you'd like to. So I did read your application, so I kind of have a general sense that you have a lot of donations of individuals over the years, and you're now kind of interested in inventorying them and digitizing some of them, and then potentially kind of addressing the issue that they're not in a environmentally stable environment. So is there anything that you would kind of want to add to that or tell me?
Well, I think that the person who really needs to speak up here is Leslie. Would you agree, Leslie, that she's the one who knows the archive? And I don't know.
Yes.
Can't hear you.
Okay, I'm having a really bad storm here and something just crackled. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
And it's storming here too. It's just beginning to rain.
Let me just say, folks, we may be cut off, in which case it's doubtful we can get back on. But we can always remain optimistic. Let's keep that in mind.
Would we use the same link?
We would.
All right,
Yeah.
thank you.
I guess what I would say first is that I have not seen the application. What Irene described sounds like what our situation is. We don't have a lot of donations. Oops. I keep getting thunderclaps.
Yeah, bang. Right
Most
now.
of what our historical commission started in the 1970s with the bicentennial, federal bicentennial, and it's just been a slow learning process about what our town's history is, colonial history, and now it's people are working hard to develop a strong Native American history reservoir or something like that too, to supplement. What happened partly is from 1995 to 2015, I was town clerk, and I was also on the historical commission. As I encountered things in the records that I thought were interesting, I would put them together in various categories for presentations or just to round out. If I heard about Baconville and then I was in the vital records and I saw the Bacon marriages and deaths, I might copy them and put them all together. And then maybe somebody had told a story about it. So there's not a lot of irretrievable items. Most of it is just stuff that's been compiled from other places. There are some artifacts that are one of a kind that people have given us. So I think a lot of it is more manpower. I think many people, but an overview of how to archive it and make it all accessible and digitize it is certainly would certainly be helpful, but I don't know who's going to do all of that.
And we have,
You know,
the
would be
voice-
nice to have the plan, but we also need someone to do it.
Yeah, the voice recordings too that go back quite a way.
Those have all been digitized by your Craig.
Mhm.
And I think it was, I put everything back in the closet as he gave it to me with the instructions, Craig. Because Greg, get my
Craig.
Gregs and Gregs
Craig,
mixed
yeah.
up here. Because the technicality of that is all beyond my capabilities, but anybody who feels capable, we've also run into COVID in the last year, Irene, too, but since those were done, anyone who feels capable to put them online or make them otherwise available, they're all in the closet.
Right. I mean, I'd be very happy to be involved in doing a lot of the actual work, but Irene and your colleagues' help would be really useful for us. I've never done archiving before. I'm a graphic designer, so I'm familiar with scanning and printing and whatnot and web, but I have no idea where to start in terms of archiving. Safe archiving. I just don't know where to start. So there's the possibility we have labor, but personally,
If you need help, I'd do it.
that's great,
If I
Karen.
could.
But probably in due course, you guys, Irene, should see what we've got so you can tell us what to do. Does that make sense?
It does to me.
So the connection was a little bit, the connection was cut.
Yeah, it's going in and out.
Connection was, yeah, I wasn't sure if it was on my end or.
Well, you don't have Shutesbury internet, so we feel sorry for
I
you.
kind of heard the beginning of what you said and then the end.
Yes, I mean,
But I can definitely, help. The kind of options are to have like volunteers carry out the work or to, potentially apply for a grant and then hire someone on a temporary basis.
mhm.
So, we could talk through like the benefits of each of those approaches. And maybe it'll be helpful for me to see how much material there is. Because if there's maybe less material, it might make, it might be more feasible for volunteers to work on it over time.
Mhm.
I
But
think
maybe-
that's the case.
Mhm. So then I could just help you kind of establish, maybe guidelines for beginning to work on it. And there's always kind of small grants also that might help to kind of purchase archival supplies, if you needed things like that. There's also, there's a big kind of free digitization service in Massachusetts, the Digital Commonwealth, which is a really fantastic resource. So I can kind of help you
Mhm.
kind of prepare to have materials digitized through them, which is really great because it's a free service and they would then assume responsibility of those digital files and their long-term preservation.
You all right, Leslie?
Yeah.
There was a
Karen.
spark in my kitchen. I don't know what.
Maybe you better go check that out.
Well, there's nothing to check out. It just this big spark right in my kitchen. I'm sitting in the kitchen. Snap and a spark. Maybe the light. I turned all the lights out. Still have internet though, so let's keep going.
All right. As long as you don't smell smoke. That's
Yeah.
No, I don't smell smoke.
Yeah, it came down and hit my little oven.
Wow.
I'm
Yes,
across from it. I wasn't anywhere near it.
Good.
And my oven's not even plugged in.
Whoa.
So Irene, what are the processes that where do we go from here?
So the next step would be to schedule a site visit for me to come out there.
Mhm.
And, typically I would spend about 2 hours with you. So I've been in touch with Miriam. I'm assuming that she's the contact person.
Mhm.
And she indicated that there would be maybe one or two other people there as well.
What Miriam was looking for was what
and
kind of
then-
availability you have.
So I flexible, so I can come out, probably in kind of mid-June, if that would work.
Yes.
So maybe it makes sense to just follow up with Miriam
There
about
she
when
is.
a good time would be.
She just showed up. Hey, Miriam.
How
Hi,
you doing?
hi there.
So we were thinking, Irene, of perhaps, 3 people working on this at any given time, because the premises involved are quite small. And given the, COVID situation, et cetera, it might make sense just to have a bare bones crew.
Mhm.
So that would be essentially you, Jesus, you, Leslie, and someone from the commission, perhaps Greg. I don't know if
Mhm.
Perhaps, yep.
Yes, definitely.
So it,
Unless Greg, can you hear me?
That sounds
yes.
great.
Unless you
Yeah.
feel like you can't do it during the day.
No, I can do it anytime. I'm a freelancer,
Oh,
so I
great.
can work anytime. And you just got on when Irene was saying mid-June might be a good time. I don't know if you want to open up your calendar now and we choose a day. Is
That would be
that'd be on you,
great.
Irene, in terms of when you're available is the most important thing.
Well, so I could give you so Friday, June 11th would be possible on my end.
Mhm.
What day is that?
Friday.
It's a Friday,
It's fine with me. June 11th.
or
What time
or,
of the day were you thinking?
so I could be there maybe around 11 a.m. or 1 p.m.
One sounds better to me, but
Oh,
Well,
don't-
11 sounds better to me because I work overnights on Thursdays and Fridays, and I just soon get it done and then have a block of time that I can sleep, unless there's
Mhm.
another day that,
Yes.
like a
No,
Monday,
we're not-
Tuesday, or Wednesday, anytime.
It's only going to be Greg. It's not going to be the whole commission.
That's
right.
correct, but I think that Greg had said you wanted Leslie there.
Yeah, Leslie.
I think that would be really good if you could
Yeah.
come, Leslie. So
Yeah, Leslie for sure.
let's accommodate Leslie.
Do you have availability on Mondays, Tuesdays, or Wednesdays, Irene?
Yes, so Monday, June 14th would also be possible if that works better.
That would be much better for me.
I'm neutral. Either is good for me.
Okay. And in terms of time, again, that day, it could be at 11 or 1 or 2, whichever.
Evan sounds good to me.
This
If you
isn't
want-
a historical commission meeting, Karen.
Yep,
So 2 sounds better to me because of my work schedule, but how about you, Greg?
It's fine. I'm very open.
Does that
Karen,
work for you?
Does Karen understand that this is not a meeting for her?
I don't think
Oh.
she does.
Yeah.
I offered my help. But if you don't need me, I won't come.
No, it's
no.
only for one
Yeah.
person from the commission.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just
Okay.
Now,
for this particular meeting with Irene, because of the
space.
confined quarters, it might be safer to have fewer people there.
Mhm.
I don't know, Leslie, what is your opinion on that?
I think you're absolutely right. And Greg sounds like he's committed and has the technical skills, which are very important in something like this. I would, I know the rest of you folks are pretty involved with other aspects of the commission work. So I'd be thrilled to meet with Greg and Irene at 2 p.m. at the Shutesbury. We could meet at the town common, the park there by the Baptist church. I don't know how familiar you are with the area, Irene.
It's right in the middle of town, Irene, and we'll see.
Okay.
Can't miss it.
12 or 16 Wendell Road. I forget which the old town hall is, but you wouldn't miss us.
No, and
No.
we won't miss you either.
So I was told by the town clerk that she just wants to be notified if and when anybody's going into Old Town Hall. So Leslie, would you be willing to let her know
I'd be glad to.
what the purpose is for this and who's going to be there and all that?
Yes. Yeah,
Can't
I
imagine
think
that
there's
there'd be
some
objection.
confusion that I might have been responsible for, but her ballots are not in the historical commission closet. She has
Right.
a separate room on the other side of the building.
She said she still, I tried to clarify that with her and she said she still wants us to give her a heads up. So
She doesn't own the building, but okay, I'll be glad to. I went in and got the banner for Sunday's march without telling her. It was
Okay,
just
we won't tell.
convenient.
That's
It's
our-
not always going to be
tell.
convenient to track her down and tell her, but in this case, I'll be glad to.
that's great.
And have a conversation with her about what her concerns are.
That might even be better.
And I'm vaccinated fully and post-vaccination.
And I am also.
And I will be officially on Tuesday, fully
yeah.
vaccinated.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome to the club.
So I know, so Miriam has my contact information. So maybe I'll just confirm Miriam with you after this, and then you can forward my information to Greg and Leslie.
I will do that.
Okay.
Great.
Would
And
you
if any,
give me your telephone, Irene, just so we can talk personally instead in a meeting?
sure. So my phone number is 617
617
898
898. Yes,
8609.
8609. Okay, thank you.
Thank
I'll
you.
call
It
you
was-
later.
Okay. So I guess I'll sign off unless there's any other questions for me.
Nope.
I had one question, I guess, just is part of looking over the materials, trying to prioritize what we should be doing with them, or what is most likely to be useful to put on the internet, onto our website? Is that part of what you'll help do with the plan?
So I don't kind of myself like appraise the material. So I wouldn't say, I mean, I could give you like a very
Okay.
biased or subjective opinion about what I found most interesting, but I can give you guidelines about how to prioritize as you're kind of conducting the inventory, because that
Okay.
is like a really important part of doing that work, is kind of thinking, okay, what materials would be good to digitize, what is most valuable for us and for like the town. But that's
Okay.
kind of a process that I can
If-
help guide you in.
Okay, good.
Will you, I'm jumping in late, so maybe you guys already talked about this, but will you be able to give us guidance on what kinds of digital platforms might be available for the town to use if we put things up? I know that
Yes,
there's
definitely.
resources available.
Definitely. I mentioned before you joined, I think the big platform in Massachusetts is the Digital Commonwealth.
Right.
So, you know, I always encourage sites to take advantage of it because it's free and it's, you know, your materials will be kind of widely accessible in a way that they might be less so on a smaller local site. So it's just like a really great resource that the state has, but I can also kind of talk you through other options.
Okay, that's great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Thanks.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very
It was
much.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. And I hope
Likewise.
that you all weather the storm out
Thank
there.
you.
It's passed through here and the house didn't burn down, so I'm good.
That's
Oh,
Good.
good, okay.
All
All right, good night.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thanks,
Irene.
Irene.
Okay.
Okay, moving right along. Updates,
Solar projects. first.
solar updates.
So should I do this, Henry?
Yeah.
And it's nice, I see Andrew there and Michael Larkin's here too. So maybe you guys can clue us in on some stuff as well. When we met last month, we had discussed drafting a protocol, a proposed protocol for how the various boards could handle sensitive data that might emerge from the investigations that the landowner and AMP might conduct as part of the bylaw requirements. And we left it that I was going to draft a proposal and then we were going to come back this week to vote on that proposal. But what happened in the meantime was that the planning board kind of got the jump on us because they put it on their agenda for like, I don't remember which meeting it was. It's all a blur to me. The last meeting, that meeting, was it in
Yeah.
May? A few weeks ago.
Probably.
Anyway, and so I drafted a proposal and gave it to the planning board. And so it's kind of there now. So I think that it's no longer relevant for us to vote on something. I think the more important issue is what will work for the planning board, because ultimately they have the say. I did have, when we were leaving, I don't know who was at that meeting. I know Henry was there. Greg, were
Yep.
you there?
Think I was there.
Janice was there. Greg, were you there? You're muted.
Yes, I was there.
So there was this discussion about, well, does the planning board have the authority to review data in executive session and keep it out of the public record on their own? Or does the historical commission have the primary statutory responsibility and authority to do that? And so I had this conversation by email with Donna McNichol about this because she said, I asked her, well, where in the statutes does the planning board have that authority? And she gave me the references. And what she gave me was references saying that boards could go into executive session to review archaeological or sensitive sites and specimens as designated by the state archaeologist. And I shared with Donna that that was problematic because we might not get that kind of a determination from the state archaeologist. And that could really kind of jam everybody up, whereas the historical commission has its own independent authority to determine that something is a site or specimen as defined by the state law and able to be kept out of the public record and out of public meetings. So I think that I haven't done I was going to revise that document for the next planning board meeting. I haven't done it yet, but I think that I'm going to try to streamline it, but leave it that there needs to be kind of a two-step process because the planning board does not really have the statutory authority on its own to decide that something is a site or a specimen, but the historical commission does. So I think we can go into executive session, possibly with the applicants and possibly with members of the planning board or all of the planning board, and then make recommendations coming out of that executive session. Does that make sense?
It does.
Andrew, do you want to give us AMP's perspective on this?
Sure, absolutely. No, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think our intent here is to, first of all, identify anything that might be on a location and then do whatever the town feels is best to make sure that that's, kept confidential so that we don't have people showing up and trying to either damage them or who knows what people might do. People are wild. So I think that we would be happy to work with whatever mechanism the town wants to come up with. And I think that whether that's an executive session, we're fine with that. We haven't actively started the work, the surveying work yet, but it's something we hope to do or to begin over the next month or so.
Great.
Yeah,
That's great.
and I'm actually hoping to send out some of those letters the next day or two to the tribal historic preservation officers to get their input and be able to get that process rolling.
Can you do that without having done the surveys yet?
We are hoping to, here's what I hope to happen is that to send out the letters and then give some time for responses and then have those come in and then be able to then engage in the surveys.
Okay.
That is, I think, would be ideal. And it's just looking to kind of see how we can navigate that with some time constraints we might be working with. But
are you continuing? I know that there was talk about developing a relationship with Bettina Washington and the Wampanoag tribe. Is that happening?
yes, exactly. That's who we hope to have thoroughly engaged in all of the site assessments and to have her input. Yeah.
I think, given the discussion, and maybe other people could chime in, but our perspective has been all along that, if we were going to evaluate and look at some data, we would really like to have a TIPO with consulting with us in that executive session. That would be a very important piece for us because we do not feel like we should be making determinations independent of tribal representatives. Other people feel the same way?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So it would be wonderful if, we can arrange that if we're going to have that executive session, that we could invite Bettina Washington to be a part of that as well.
I think that makes all the sense in the world. Yeah.
So I think there's still going to be more discussion with the planning board. Planning board may not want to do it this way. They may want to have their own independent process. That's fine. I think we have to have more discussion at the next planning board meeting. I don't know if anybody else has thoughts about that.
Do you know when that is, by the way? The next planning board meeting, has that been posted or?
It hasn't been posted. Do
Okay.
you know? And do you AMP people know?
Just to get it on my calendar.
I'm sorry, the next planning board.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I do have the let me see, I have the calendar for the town up
might be next week.
right now. And I see it's on next week, June 2nd at 7 p.m.
June
is what I
2nd.
see.
Okay.
Okay.
What day of
And
the week is that? Monday?
that is a
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
Oh, they have to do that because it's Memorial Day. The Monday is.
Oh.
Memorial Day. That's
Got
what. Okay. Well, I think it would be really important for us to come to that
Yeah.
meeting. I guess my feeling with the planning board is I certainly don't want us to be getting into a push and pull with them around what's important. It'd be great if we were all on the same page. And there isn't a question of like what's important or what's not important. I think that they probably are worried about letting go of their authority somewhat. So if we can reassure them, that might be a way for us all to work together.
Mhm.
It's also not clear to me whether and this will be a decision that the planning board would make down the road, is whether they want to use their 53G authority to have their own consultant. And what kind of a consultant that would be.
Mhm.
I think we could make recommendations to the planning board about what kind of expertise we think that kind of a consultant should have.
Okay.
Do anybody have thoughts about that?
No.
But it sounds good. It sounds the right thing.
I mean, my concern is that last time around, they hired an archaeologist who was not in a position to offer any guidance about traditional cultural properties.
Yeah.
And the archaeologist could, and the developer had hired an archaeological team as well, and didn't consult with anybody who had expertise with ceremonial stone landscapes. This time around, everybody's going around in a very different way, which is wonderful. We're really happy that, I'm personally very happy that AMP is working with the research team that they've selected. I think
Yeah.
I think they're the appropriate experts for this, and it's really great that that's happening.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what kind of consultant the planning board would need. I think that at some point it might be helpful, maybe in the next month or so even, to have a planning board meeting where we attend and perhaps Eva Gibovic attends as well. Just so maybe we could have a conversation about all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think they've come a long way. We've all been learning a lot about First Nations here. And I was actually the guy who recommended the archaeologist consultant.
Yeah.
I mean, boy, was I wrong about that.
Oh, well.
But I just happened to have known him, it's
Yeah.
as simple as that.
Well, he was a good guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it just, and, and it was a different situation because, that was a very complex situation. And I don't think that this current situation has some of the same complexities. Nobody's talking about burial grounds.
And an archaeologist would be in a situation to comment on colonial stone structures in the area, wouldn't he?
They could do that, absolutely. So
Because,
that
we're not just looking for Native American sites, we're looking for colonial sites too.
They could, I suppose, they could hire a TIPO, or if there's a way for Bettina Washington to weigh in and consult with whoever they hire. I think that is another process that could work in a positive way. If they feel like they need to have a 53G consultant. Does everybody know what that is? Karen, do you know what that is?
No.
So there's a state law that allows the planning board to hire a consultant, third-party reviewer, to help them evaluate special permit applications at the applicant's expense. And there's all sorts of requirements around that. But for example, the Conservation Commission has a wetland scientist that we hire to review the ANRADs. And I think it's under the same law, actually, the same statute. But the planning board has that as well. So the planning board can hire an engineer if they wanted an engineer, or they could hire an archaeologist, or they could hire a TIPO. They can hire an expert to help them evaluate a special permit application. But I would really hope that we would have some input into, framing what they need that expert for. So that it doesn't, because I think people just automatically jump to thinking it needs to be an archaeologist. Maybe it should be an archaeologist.
What about the panels, the sun panels that they want put up all over town?
Well, that's what we're talking about, Karen. The solar project.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. There's a couple of representatives from the company AMP Energy that's developing those projects. That's here on the meeting tonight. Okay, so Henry, so perhaps do you want to reach out to the planning board around this and maybe suggest that if we're going to review this, perhaps maybe we could have Eva Gibovic be a part of this? I don't know if they're going to say, oh, it's they may end up saying, hey, it's premature. We don't want to do that until we have an application in front of us.
To review the archaeology policy, yes?
The privacy policy for
The
handling
privacy,
sensitive data.
yes, which you are revising, yes?
I'm revising it.
Okay. All right, I can send them a note and hope, but they may say next week we can talk about it. I doubt it, but you know, if they do.
Well, I think they're going to have it on their agenda on June 2nd. I think that is
Okay.
plan.
All right.
Just,
All right.
I'll
just, it's a reminder then.
Yeah.
All right.
I think it would be a good thing.
So just for the benefit of the group, I'm looking at their agenda now. I do not see it on there right now, but they might add it later. Right now, it seems just to read it off for everybody. You might not be in front of a computer. It's 7 p.m. public comment, and then after that, Brad Spry, West Pelham Road, A&R, then unanticipated business, and then 7:30 public hearing on access and associate member amendments. So it might be under unanticipated business.
Yeah, I think
works.
that they forgot that this was something we had talked about reviewing at the next meeting. So yeah, Henry,
I'll send that out right away.
Say we want to review the revised draft, and then I'll send and circulate to everybody the revised draft.
All right.
Andrew, do you have any questions for us while you're here?
Thank you. No, I appreciate that. I think the only real question I have right now is in sending out these letters to the tribal preservation officers. In the bylaws, it's also stated to send you all a copy as well. I wasn't able to find an address to do that, or if it's just the same, what I could do is just send an email, like a PDF of the letter that was sent out to everybody. I'm happy to do either, whatever you prefer.
I don't mind it being digital.
Okay.
I mean,
Works.
I think we should probably decide that as a commission.
That sounds fine. I mean, no problem with it.
So you would send it to the historical@shutesbury.org.
Okay.
Email. Maybe I'm misrecalling, but my recollection, Andrew, was that the bylaw said that the applicant will send to the TIPOs information about the project. And I imagine that would include a map, and I had assumed probably some data or some exemplars to inquire whether they have an interest. I don't know if that's your plan or if you're just going to send an initial letter that doesn't include all that.
No, that's a great question. No, absolutely. So what the plan is essentially to send a letter that has the 5 Shutesbury proposed projects in it. And what we'll do is it'll include the parcel number. It'll include an image of the parcel itself on a map. And then what I'm planning on doing, because we don't have any initial engineering drawings, I'm going to be taking the proposed mock-up kind of solar array images we have that we presented at the abutter meetings, which is fairly basic, but at least shows within the parcel where these arrays ideally might be situated. And then I'm hoping that gives them enough information to know, where in the parcel the site might be affected, and how best to focus their efforts on that area. So they're not looking at an entire parcel, since we're not taking up the entire parcel in most cases.
Are you inviting them to do any site visits if they wish, or to consult with your research team?
If that's something they want, then absolutely. We certainly wouldn't want to close anybody off, but this is more of a initial just informing, gathering written for feedback, and then we can take it from there if anybody does want to attend.
Does anybody else have any thoughts about what should be included in that?
No.
And I don't know if this is possible now. If it's helpful, I could actually screen share at least what the letter is kind of looking at like now. It might just take a minute just to show that. Of course, I don't have to, but I just wanted to, if anyone wants to see the format, and that might be helpful to you.
I think it
guess
would
the-
be helpful.
I guess the main thing is that whatever you write has a call to action, so that rather than nothing happening after you send the letter, there is a please answer yes or no kind of thing that moves the process along rather than just fulfills a requirement.
Right. Good point. I mean, my intention was also to, when I mail these out, to A, do it in certified mail just to get confirmation that it was received, but B, also to include an envelope with prepaid
Right.
return address, just so it's easy for them to respond. So if you don't mind, I will just share my screen really quickly. Oh, sorry, I can't.
Yeah, let me give you sharing screen.
It's under participants, isn't it?
Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Is it not?
Hold on.
Or is it under screen share?
There we go. You're on, Andrew.
Oh, thank you. Let me pull that up right now. Okay.
Although at the moment we can see you.
This is where I discover I have too many screens up. Okay, there we go. Can everyone see this?
Yep.
Okay. So this is our first draft. This is essentially the cover letter. And then I'll just walk through just quickly kind of how I've laid this out. For what basically it's based on the project notification forms that we've sent to the MHC already to make it just consistent as possible with some of the images and data we also provided. So this is just sort of initial cover letter showing, just indicating on a high level who we are, where we're located. Hopefully they know they can send this to me and that'll be on the return envelope. And then just some pretty basic information about just what we're hoping to achieve here. And let me just scroll down quickly to show you how that's laid out. So I wanted this to be, this page is blank because I want it to be every project has on one page, just so people don't get confused and mix them up. And then essentially including information on the parcel ID, the information we included in the PNF. This is the image that was included on the abutter meetings I held, just showing as proposed kind of what we're thinking right now. And then also just showing where the parcel is located as worked out previously by our vendor for the PNF that was submitted. And so I've done this for the 5 Shutesbury sites. And so let me scroll down. So there's also this one here. This is where this is located here. And also you can see, it draws their attention to, not overwhelm them. We're only talking about this sub area here within the parcel. Same thing for this potential project. Also look in the map. Same thing for this project. Also located on the map. And then lastly, there's one more. So this project, and also indicated on the map. And then lastly, this one is also located in Pelham.
Oh.
So going to also be included in there so they can be aware if they also, since it's not just in Shutesbury, but this will also be sent to the Pelham Historical Commission as well.
Mm-hmm.
Then same map.
Andrew,
Yes.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you know at this point whether, and maybe it's premature, but in some of these projects, it looks like you might need an EPA construction general permit or a Army Corps of Engineer permits, because there may be some wetlands crossings. Have you checked out what you might need to do for Section 106 notification?
Right. So you're right. It's a little early now for us to determine that. If that is going to be something that we need to do, absolutely we'll be following that protocol. There's only, I think, there's a few situations where we're thinking, for example, this location, if you can follow this sort of road, it would cross this stream in this wetland, and that's, you know, one area we're looking at. I don't know if this would qualify as the to bring in the Army Corps of engineers for this site in particular, but right, we're looking very closely on that. And Mike, if you have anything additional to add that I might be missing, please let us know.
Yeah, I was going to say we're definitely anticipating an Army Corps permit at this Pratt West site pictured here. And yeah, basically any site where we're going to have to cross a stream will likely need some sort of Army Corps permit. Right now, that's looking like Pratt West, Pratt South, possibly Montague. Carver Road has some certified vernal pools along it, and so we might have to upgrade the road itself. So we're not sure if the upgrades to the road itself would be classified as an impact. But anyway, yeah, those are the 3 sites that we would anticipate.
My understanding, when Army Corps is involved, that there's kind of 2 application processes, and I'm not, one is like a self-reporting sort of short form, and then there's a longer application if there are historical properties that need to be addressed. So it's up to the applicant to notify Army Corps that they don't qualify for the short application if there are suspected historical properties or cultural properties on the sites. So the document that we put together on the solar bylaw, you probably have looked at a copy of it, it's on our website. There's a section in it where it discusses the differences between those.
Great. And is this, just so I'm clear, this is the Historical Preservation and Solar Development in Shutesbury, Massachusetts from March? Okay, I have that open right now. Yes.
Yes, and you can take a look at it. I mean, we don't need to go over it all, but my understanding from my communication with someone from Army Corps is that those are 2 different processes, and that there's a longer process that has to be followed if there's a possible Section 106 nexus or there's suspected historical property. So to some extent, it'll depend on your survey whether there's anything on that site.
Right. Okay. No, that's a great
Got it.
point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. I wasn't sure if I was aware. I know with some of the permits, you have to do the 106 consultation. And with that, you're referring to, I guess, the PNF to the MHC.
Right. Right.
And so, yeah, I mean, we'll definitely.
And also it's you have to notify MHC, but you also have to, I believe, document an effort to consult with TIPO offices. So what I'm just saying is that these letters may need to be worded differently if they're also involving Section 106 notification. And don't know, I'm sure Eva would be a good person to consult with and advise you about, you know, what you need to include if you're doing a Section 106 notification.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And I think the response of the MHC also guides you on if there's any other supplemental things that you need to do to not qualify, meet the standards of the Section 106. Like for
you can't always rely upon Mass Historical to take a leadership role in this, simply because Mass Historical takes the position that there are no ceremonial stone landscapes in Massachusetts.
Miriam, you're sounding muffled. Could it be the cat laid down on the microphone?
I put my hand on the microphone, sorry. So, I mean, that's the problem, is that Mass Historical may not be responsive.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'll look into that. I haven't gotten any guidance on the different version of the permit if there's certain historical properties on the site, but we haven't applied to any Army Corps permits yet because none of the wetland crossings have been designed yet. So
okay. All right. Well, great.
Great. And so I'm sorry for taking up so much time.
No.
But if anybody has any input on the letters, anything additional here, please let me know. Otherwise, we will endeavor to just try to send this out next day or two.
Yeah.
I would just make sure you check to make sure if it turns out that there is going to be some jurisdiction, that you've got the wording proper, because you don't want to have to send out another set of letters.
Right. Okay.
You know, the only thing I would add, Andrew and Michael, is make sure you send it to the relevant people. I'm sure you have a good list there, but it's always important with these things that get to the right person.
That's spot on, and that's been giving me a lot of anxiety. You do better believe it. So
Yeah.
Eva was very helpful with helping me.
Okay, Eva would know.
10 or so. Yeah, thanks.
Right. Sometimes it's not transparent which office or who is the right person. I know. It can be confusing, but that's why having somebody like Eva who's very knowledgeable about this is really helpful.
She's been wonderful to work with so far. Her knowledge is helpful.
I was wondering, are you working with the Pelham Historical Commission yet on any of this, or where does that stand?
So we haven't yet. I'm planning on trying to attend their next meeting to also engage them and let them know. But they will be getting a copy of this letter as well to know that at least everything went out, and I'll just be sending them a note. But we haven't. We're very, very early on the Pelham project. It's much, I would say, much earlier than where we are with Shutesbury. So kind of wanting to wait a little bit, but also thought it was appropriate to at least try to get this step taken care of now while we're engaging with the TPOs.
Good, thanks.
Andrew, before you guys leave, one more thing. I think we should probably just put a little sticky note up for, I think we would like to talk about at some point site visits. Once Eva's gotten to a point of having data that can be reviewed.
Absolutely.
I would think maybe down the road when you've got a mitigation plan that you're proposing, when you've got a decision about what you're proposing, I think the commission would like to be able to conduct a site visit and take a look. So everybody agree on that?
Oh, yeah.
Perfect. I'm writing it down, so
Okay,
it will happen. Great.
Good, thank you.
Great. Well, if there's anything else, I'm happy to answer more questions. But if nothing else, I will get out of all your hair. And I hope.
You're welcome to stay on. We have other business here.
Oh, interesting.
Thank you. I better be.
Right.
I'm going to throw myself back at these letters.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Thank you,
Bye,
everybody.
guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Bye. All right. So next item on the updates is the CPC. I guess we're going to propose another commissioner to that endeavor. Concretely, it was the name that surfaced is Edsel, who expressed an interest, but she's not here today.
Did she say, did we know she wasn't coming?
Oh
Yes.
yeah, no, she
Yep.
she emailed.
Oh.
She's not coming.
So the, just in case everybody doesn't know, because I'm not sure, I was at a CPC meeting with Henry. Henry, you were at that meeting, right?
No, I was not.
So I was at this is where I got it from. I was at a CPC meeting where this was discussed, and the CPC process is a little confusing. The Historical Commission nominates somebody. That person needs to go to some CPC meetings so that they can meet her or him or them. And then the CPC makes a recommendation to the select board to appoint that person. So the person is appointed not by us, but by the select board. I'm not sure whatever happened with John. Was he? I don't know if he was ever appointed by the select board. Maybe.
I don't think so. But
I don't think so. They must have changed things.
I think they
I'm trying to think back to when the CPC was formed, and I remember being concerned that it be a choice of the Historical Commission. And if you look at the bylaw, I think you will see that technically you folks have the authority.
I would think so.
For some appointments to the CPC, you don't, but you do have the authority, I believe, and I can track down the bylaw next week, probably in the assessor's office, if you
and
don't know.
the CPC bylaw.
Yeah,
Oh,
No.
it was,
should be on the
whatever year
website.
it was voted in, and it's statutory. It's not something that we made special, but the Historical Commission had authority to appoint who they wanted. Planning board, I think, conservation.
Yeah.
It was just, people who might be advising you based on their experience. But I think if you go back and check that CPC bylaw, you'll find that
Are you
certain
talking
of
about the
these
bylaw?
regulatory boards.
Leslie, are you talking about the town bylaw or are you talking?
I'm talking about the
CPC.
CPC bylaw, the
The
Community
MGL.
Preservation Act bylaw that town meeting voted. I think it
Oh.
gives the regulatory boards such as Planning Board, Historical Commission, Conservation, you get to choose.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes
And
sense
when
to
it
me.
comes to appointments for other boards and some of the members on the CPC, then maybe not, but you guys do have the right.
Yeah, if you have a copy of the CPC bylaw, I don't think I don't, maybe it's on the website, but I can.
Maybe and maybe not. I forget where I found it. Whatever year it was voted in, I'll email it to you.
That'd be
Should be-
great.
It should be in the
I'll check
archive,
on
no?
that. So I would like to move that we appoint Azelle in her absence
Okay.
to be our representative.
Okay, seconded.
Greg second.
Yes,
Roll call.
All right. I guess that's my job, is it?
Yep.
Yes. Henry Geddes. Aye. Janice Stone.
Aye.
Karen Zonka.
aye.
Greg Colton.
Aye.
Miriam Devant.
Aye. Okay.
And I guess we have the honorary Leslie, but you don't vote, do you? All right. I guess that takes the vote.
Okay,
It's
good.
approved.
All right. I will send Azelle an email about what about her. She needs to connect with Alan about when the meeting is.
Mhm.
Okay.
I thought she was going to go to the meeting that I showed up at, but that didn't happen. So,
Okay, good.
Uh,
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Historic Markers Project.
I got a report that there's no progress on it. Yeah, it's, I mean, what's we decided became clear at a previous meeting is this is going to be a long haul project. So Mary Lou and I are still very keen on it, but there's been no progress to report.
Okay.
what do you think about doing a kind of a survey or trying to get some public input before we start, to
Yep. That's a good idea. We've Mary Lou and I discussed that, and I think maybe that's, yes, we've talked to Mary Ann about it, Antonellis. So I think that we should develop that to begin with, get some community
Mary Ann?
input. Because we thought she's got a real good access to the community and to the school and the library.
Mm.
So, but yeah, why don't you put that down as a project, specific part of the project for me to work on?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a digital survey that we posted. I mean, it's not going to capture everybody, but it would capture a lot of people. Like there's a lot of people on Nextdoor Shutesbury. You could, do some sort of like a Survey Monkey kind of thing.
Is town meeting going to be in person this year?
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the past, we would do like a poster or something, you could put up some of that design and do a poster and say, what do you think about, historic markers or something? If people are actually going to be in person and walking around, you might be able to have something where people can write down their ideas if you have a visual, you know, that gets them attracted to come over.
That's a good
You
idea.
could also, like, if you do a digital online survey, which, you know, you can do for free,
Mm-hmm.
some of these platforms,
Mm-hmm.
you could have little slips of paper with the login information,
Mm-hmm.
how to take the survey.
Yep.
The other possibility is that this probably would be an appropriate thing to do an all-town email through the town email system. If we're doing a survey, we could have a paragraph with a little blurb about what we're talking about, and then the link to the survey could be sent out to all town residents.
Well, I'll get onto the content of that, and we can. It'll have to happen before we next meet, correct?
Yeah, I don't know if we're going to be meeting before town meeting.
That's right. So I'll get onto that immediately.
If we need to have a meeting sooner to review something, we could do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it'd be a nice idea, Greg, and it's just it's hard getting it off the ground, when, especially during times of COVID, when there's so little, you know, getting together to discuss or look at things. But at least town meeting will be there, and I think that'll be a good start. In fact, it used to be, at least, that each of the committees had an opportunity to do a short report. I don't know if they'll still do that or not, or if that'll just be something in writing that goes into the annual report. I mean, but at one point, people could get up and say something briefly, and it could include something like, you know, we're trying to get feedback on historical markers for town. Come check out our survey or something along that line, if that's going to be an option.
I will listen to the select board meeting with Paul Lyons, and his goal was to have people submit short summaries, and he would read them rather than everybody get up and go to the microphone. And so there will be that option if it's a short written thing that he can read.
But we need to draft a summary, and probably a summary of everything.
Yeah, very brief, but yes, yeah.
Okay. Anybody want to do that?
You're the one who knows it all, Miriam. You got it all in your head.
All right. You want me to do it?
Yeah, if you don't mind. I mean, I especially however you're going to summarize the reports that were done and everything, because that's certainly an important part.
Okay.
And then just send people to our website, I guess, our web page, I guess it is.
Yep.
And do we have something about this historical markers on the web page yet?
I just had a blurb on it saying that was something we were exploring.
Okay, so maybe we can work on that connection too then, right? To put a graphic up and maybe even just to tell people to send comments or something for starters.
So, Greg, if you want to give me some content and the graphic, I can put those up on the town webpage.
Okay, well, I'll do that tomorrow. In terms of content, I wouldn't, you know, need
If you
some
want,
input.
if you want to put together a survey, you know, I'm happy to help with that.
Sure, great, that'd be helpful.
I'm trying to remember.
I don't know quite what to ask.
I was looking into all this for a survey for Village Neighbors a while back.
Mm-hmm.
Does anybody remember what the deal is with like Survey Monkey and which ones you can get free ones?
I believe Survey Monkey is free.
Yeah, I think if it's really simple and you don't have a lot of internal logic and skip pages, if it's just like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 5, how much do you like this? You do have any comments, that kind of thing. It's something really simple. I think there's a free account.
Yeah.
I will try to dig out my survey information.
Yeah, the thorny question is, how does this affect things like open meeting laws and stuff like that? I don't know.
Well, we can talk about this and we can post it as a subgroup.
To do what? To talk about what to put on the website, that sort of stuff?
Or what to put in a survey if we're going to work on a survey. So I guess one of the things we might want to put in the survey is whether or not people would like to see historic markers be erected in conjunction with perhaps a historic district? Because that's kind of what people often, this is kind of what I've been saying. Is Leslie still there?
Yeah.
Leslie? Don't go away, Leslie. Oh, she's
She'll
still
be
there.
back.
I'm here. I was just fading out because it didn't sound like anything that I would be involved in.
No, it will be. Okay, because I know you've said in the past there were residents that really did not like the idea of being in a neighborhood that was going to be part of a historic district.
Hello?
Hi.
Yeah, you're muffled again.
Yeah, sorry. When I hold my laptop with my hand,
Yeah.
Leslie, do you remember that you said there was some input from the public about 20 years ago that people did not want to have Ron Town Center being a historic district?
Being an historic district requires applications
Yes.
to Mass Historical or,
It's
US
of course,
Historical or something to that effect.
the NRHP, the National Register.
Yeah, National Register. And absolutely, to a person, the property owners at the time did not want to be a part of that. I don't know if that's still true or not. And that is my understanding of how I believe those down in Leverett are all part of districts that have been registered, which are on the National Register. I don't know. And that's why I was backing away, because it just is too complicated for me to,
Sure.
it didn't seem like my high priority.
Well, that's right. In Leverett, somebody, actually was Eva's mother, was part of the process of doing the NRHP nomination paperwork. We have, and it really, you have to have a conversation with each property owner. You can't kind of do it without the property owner's consent to have their properties put in this register.
Right. Well, I think that the registration of a historical area is really a long-term project too, because it takes, you said that Leverett took 10 years to get it authorized, something like that.
Can I just clarify that Miriam is right? For individual properties, they need the property owner's permission, but to do a historical district, it's a town meeting vote. So the people in the area don't really have their own personal say. The historical commission would have to push it and have a town meeting vote for it. And then you'd have to create a historic district commission to regulate it.
Let's say
Is that right, Leslie, that it has to go to town meeting? You have to pass, do you have to pass a bylaw?
I think so.
I don't know that you have to pass a bylaw until you create a historic district commission that then regulates. I think the town meeting has to vote for the historic district rather than getting permission of individual owners. Like John Shershin did the South Schoolhouse independently. It was owned by Sirius. He did it for Sirius, no town meeting vote. But if you're talking about a Shutesbury Center Historic District, then the commission would promote it, and or all the property owners could if they wanted to, and then it would go to a town meeting vote. And then if you decided you wanted regulations, then there would be a historic district commission, such like they have in Amherst, where they've created their 6-month demolition delay bylaw and all of that. And our previous commission wasn't interested in regulating that and for other people, but this is a different commission.
You don't have to have a demolition delay.
No, you don't. You don't. I'm just saying that we were not interested in forcing something on people that they didn't want.
Right.
But individuals anytime, and that's another approach, is to just put out, we would be glad to help you if you would like to get your property on the National Historic Register.
See, I like that idea. I honestly, I worry that if we go put signs up saying there's a historic district and we haven't actually done it in the proper way, it's going to create confusion for people.
And yeah, it's going to be a real problem because you're not saying that. When Mary Lou was talking about that, I was frustrated because I don't think she understood that it's all part of a bigger process.
Right, and what Mary Lou and I have been thinking about all the way along to begin with is just, for instance, if I knew that George Washington slept here,
Right.
and if the Historical Commission said, Greg, would you like a sign outside that says George Washington slept here? And I said, I'd love that. Then the Historical Commission would make it happen. The historic district thing is a separate issue to me. I mean, Jeremiah Cady, right? The young man who was at the Boston Tea Party. I would love to be there, a sign wherever he lived. Just saying that, not
Right.
making a historic thing, but just
That would be cool.
Yeah.
If you happen to know where he lived.
Well, I have to look into the
But like
archives,
you
wouldn't
said, Yusuf Latif's family wanted a sign at his, and that to me seemed like a nice way to use some sign money.
Yeah. I think that's valuable. He was an internationally renowned musician.
But this historic district thing is a much bigger, ambitious project, and I'm not sure it's exactly.
So I think personally, I think the way to go about it is for us to be communicating to start with one district, like the town center area, because that's the largest area where there's historical homes, and to reach out individually to homeowners to try to have a dialogue about what they want and get feedback before we start talking any further. I mean, I think that would be, we can look it up on the MHC inventory, which houses, and we could do a letter and we could mail letters out to the homeowners. We can look out who the current homeowners are and send them a letter saying, if you're interested, fill this form out and we'll reach out to you.
Another approach would be to start with an individual town-owned building like the 1829 town hall and just see what's involved in it and do what find out about it through doing your own. And then if everybody thinks that's a great idea, then move forward. I'm going to mute myself because it's work that I'm not wanting to get involved in. But
let me take this opportunity for an information moment. I'll share the screen for a second.
Okay.
Everybody see that?
Yep.
There you go. It's very clear here. It says one member of the Historical Commission as designated by the commission for a term of 3 years.
Good.
For the planning board, it's one member designated by the board. Right. So it's quite clear.
Okay.
Thank you. I won't bother to send that to you.
Yeah.
Was that online?
It is. It's dated 2008.
That's when we voted it in.
So we need to clarify with the select board because they have undertaken to change the process without, when they don't have the authority to do it if it's in the bylaw.
They don't probably know. This is a whole new group. They probably don't understand it. They're just following their regular appointment procedures.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So am I supposed to be communicating this?
Yeah, I think you should.
All right.
What I would do, Henry, is I would attach a copy of that bylaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would email the CPC and the select board.
But was the initiative to make the change from the CPC or was it from the select board?
I have no idea.
Or both?
I don't think it was
but it
an
doesn't
initiative.
matter.
I think it was just a blur. But I do believe that guideline is from the statute itself.
Yeah, it does. I don't know who initiated that change, but we need to correct them that without a town meeting vote, it has to stand as it is.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody meant to change anything. It's just their standard operating procedure for appointing people to boards and committees.
Right.
Got
Okay.
it.
I'm sure you're right.
And it's just inconsistent with most boards and committees don't have statutory bylaws the way the CPC does. And
I think the issue from when I was at that meeting, the gist of what I got was that the CPC would like to have its own identity and control over who is on their committee.
Too bad.
However, that's not what it's all about. They're
No.
a committee made up of representatives from different boards, and we have to be the ones who choose
Mhm.
our representatives.
That's what the bylaw
Definitely.
is. Right. Okay, that's good, Henry. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, well,
Great.
okay. And any other comment on that then?
No,
Move on?
Yes.
Southbrook Conservation. So it's good Leslie's still
Southbrook.
here.
Yeah, Southbrook. Mhm.
So I'm just going to review because Leslie, this is the first time you've been here for this discussion. Southbrook Conservation Area, as you probably know, Leslie, is this 90-acre conservation lot owned by the town that's managed by the Conservation Commission. I'm on the
I was very involved in the purchase.
Mhm.
So there are currently existing trails on the in the area that need some repair. And there is a CPC proposal going on the warrant at town meeting to hire someone to do updated mapping and also updating repairs to the trails. In that discussion around the CPC applications, another group came forward that wanted to put mountain biking trails in as well. I raised the concern that there are stone groupings and some historical features, colonial or settler features on this property, and they haven't been mapped. And before we start cutting more trails and having mountain bikers jumping all over rocks, because they do a mountain bike, I've seen mountain biking trails. I hope I'm not offending anybody who's a mountain biker in this meeting, but they can really do some damage to terrain.
Right.
Mhm.
Well,
I mean, I've seen a lot of damage to terrain, and
Not to mention broken collarbones for folks who overdo it.
or torn ACLs, as my husband got doing mountain biking. That also happens. So my proposal is, and I thought that this might be it's some work, but it might be a very cool project for us around introducing the town to the notion of ceremonial stone landscapes, would be for us to undertake a mapping project of going in and surveying the property and getting some training and some supervision in doing that. And then getting some consultation from a tribal historic preservation officer about if there's anything that we think might be indigenous. And then arranging with the Conservation Commission to preserve things so that, you know, if they're going to do a mountain biking trail, that it avoids things that we might want to see protected, et cetera, et cetera.
Mhm.
So we need to do it this year if we're going to do it, because all these other projects are going on. So what I've been thinking is that if we could get some volunteers, not just us, but maybe some other people from the community who would like to get trained and participate, and we could get a couple of knowledgeable people to participate who could train people in how to identify stone groupings and what kind of photographs to take. We could go out and, you know, maybe over a successive few days over the summer, do the data collection. Janice, I'm hoping you might be interested in this. I understand, Leslie, you've been doing some of this yourself with Eva.
It's possible that I've been doing it. Yep.
Maybe. I also heard
She's
maybe
familiar with sites.
maybe Anne Marie Kittredge, maybe we could talk to her and see if she would be interested. I
Mhm.
hate to ask Eva because I think Eva's got a very busy summer and I hate to press
Mhm.
upon her to do another thing. But maybe she would be willing to do the training piece. You know, we could also talk to Lise McLaughlin about doing a training piece. That's my thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds good. I'd be interested in doing the field work.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think other people are too. I mean, there's other people in town that are passionate about this stuff. I discovered accidentally my next door neighbor is super fascinated and interested. And when I told him about this, he's a young guy and he was like, yes, absolutely, I want to do that. So I thought that was neat. So I think there could be other people that we could engage. So I think really the pieces are recruiting volunteers, maybe advertising on Nextdoor Shutesbury and seeing if we can get volunteers, and then figuring out who is going to train people, and then how are we going to plan it out.
I think we still probably need guidance from like Eva or Lise in terms of how to handle this, because we always have to be careful not to try to take over, you know, like we're becoming the experts or something. So we always have to be, we can be looking for things and marking their locations, but in the end, it's up to someone with more authority to decide. But in some cases, it's colonial stuff too. So, or we can't figure out which it is.
Right, absolutely. That's what I would want. I mean, it's possible for us to say, gee, this is a really cool looking thing. We don't know what it is, but Conservation Commission, please don't let anybody.
Right.
Yeah. We can say we don't know what it is, but it's a cool thing. Whatever, somebody built something, we want to see it preserved, whatever it is. And so that, yes, I think we have to be careful about the naming of it. But
I think the most recent purchase is sensitive in every area except the existing the existing line, that trail that used to be the one that was discontinued. It's right against the gravel portion of Wendell Road, and it goes up and down from Locks Pond over to Ames Haven Road. But we've got a early 19th century mill site there. We have really fragile, steep hillsides. There's a vernal pool that may or may not have ever been documented, but it's there. We have a colonial cellar hole. We have undescribed, unidentified stone groupings. And when Janice and I were there one day, we saw something that we looked at, and a neighbor said, yeah, my son built that. And I'm sure he did, because it didn't used to be there, and all of a sudden it was, but it sure looked colonial. There, perhaps north of the South Brook trail, those trails down toward further toward the lake, I know less about anything colonial, and I don't recall ever seeing a stone grouping, but the area that we most recently purchased from T.S. Mann is loaded with so much, except, as I say, for, you know, if they want to get on at Locks Pond Road and go up and down those hills and get off at Ames Haven, that's one thing. We've got a swamp area that's filled with watercress. That's a very unusual thing. I sure don't want to be identifying all this so people go rip up the watercress. I don't want, you know, there's just, it's just from one end to the other, it's got something.
So the Conservation Commission knows about the vernal pool and are interested in certifying it. They went out recently, and haven't finished it, but they went out and mapped the existing trails, and there is now a map of the existing trails. I can get a copy of it for us.
One of those trails goes over you know, part of the original mill site. I believe that the stone structure, that one of the bridges that the Porcupine Club built, the stone structure under it, I believe, is part of the it's on the 1832 map, this mill site is, so it's predates 1832. And cool. You know, I shudder to think of trail bikes going room, room, room
Well,
over it, but
On a related thing, what we were talking about the last Concom, I don't think you were there, Janice, were you?
I don't think so.
So we were talking about the fact that when they went out to look at these trails, they could see a lot of muck and damage from either mountain bikes.
snowmobiles, the whole
Well, it wasn't snowmobiles. 'Cause it was,
all-terrain.
all-terrain vehicles, which are probably not legal to be used there. And so they talked about inviting the acting officer in charge from the police department to meet with the Concom to talk about how could we go about enforcing the, well, how could we ensure that these vehicles are not
Being used on-
damaging those trails, because I don't think that they're allowed to be out there.
Going to be very, very difficult. It's a problem that all conservation commissions have. And if you have the snowmobilers, they may be in the wintertime, but they create the wider trails that the ATVs can then use. And then the mountain bikers come in and they make new trails all over the place. Like one of the places Leslie's talking about, the trail that goes across the property. There's a really narrow sort of path, hemlock ravine and wetlands down below. And there's some mucky areas. I haven't been over there in a long time, but they were really mucky even years ago, because it's a very concentrated, narrow crossing. So I'm still really worried about trail bikes in there, because there is no control of them. As much as you may talk to that one guy and he says, oh yeah, we'll stay on the trail, it's not going to happen. As soon as people who are out of area or different parts of town get in there, they're going to make their own trails. You know, once you let them in, there's no stopping. But on the other hand, you can't really stop them now. So, you know.
But the issue is, you know, we can have a say in whether or not the CPC sponsors a project next year for a town meeting in 2022.
Yeah.
And I think that's why having somebody on the committee is important, but we also need our own data. We need to know what might we be concerned about. Now, we have a rough map that was given to the Conservation Commission of where the mountain bikers want to put their trail. So that would be a good place to look to see, is there anything that we want to protect that is where those mountain bikers want to put that trail. That would be helpful information, I think.
So I was thinking, and Leslie, that maybe to do a hike or a walk out there following that trail, and let's see what we run into in terms of stone features and things like that.
Okay.
That to sort of get people sort of looking at, you know, what
The
might
stone
actually be
features
impacted.
were all, am
Yeah.
I on mute still?
Nope.
Okay. I keep getting the phone ringing, telling me about this emergency storm. I can't deal with it right now, but that's why my phone keeps ringing
Some more?
from 6 o'clock.
Oh, yeah.
The stone features were all up near the Colonial Cellar Hole area, not down by the trail that cuts across is where the muck is goes right over the bridge from prior to 1832.
Okay.
And the muck leads into the swamp where the
Watercress.
watercress is.
Well, why don't we do a field trip? I know you just did that, Janice, with the Concom, didn't you? You were there, right?
Yeah, I mean, we could, yeah, sort of like a historical and invite the Concom or something like that, or
Yeah.
or somehow do a joint one just to look at features that we're both concerned about for trails. Yeah.
We should have done this earlier before all the foliage was out.
Yeah.
And the black flies.
And the black flies. Yeah, what are we talking about?
Better do it soon. I think it gets worse as the summer wears along.
Yeah.
Is it possible to put a request for a delay until either the next town meeting or a special town meeting to consider this article if the two commissions were to raise their concerns
Well,
at town?
yeah, I mean, we do. So nothing, the mountain bikers proposal is not coming up for this coming town meeting.
Oh, it's not.
No.
I thought it was.
Unless I've heard something completely wrong, they have not been approved by the Concom. We have to approve it before they can do that because it's,
Good.
that hasn't happened. Didn't have their act together. And so we told them, you got to do your due diligence and you got to do some research and come back to us with a better proposal. So they want to propose it this coming winter for the 2022 town meeting.
So right now it's Penny's thing, right? Of mapping
Penny's thing.
sensitive areas, whether they're wetlands or other features.
Right. So that I'm not worried about Penny's thing.
No.
And we can go out with those people that are going to be doing the trail work. We can go out with them too. And if there's something, I think the Concom is talking about wanting to work with them to make sure that, if there's wetlands, if they're going to reroute the trails, that they stay out of the wetlands. So we have a little bit of time, and I don't know, maybe it would be easier to do this in September. What do you think, Janice?
I don't know.
I would say if it's true that you have time, that you wait. I don't know why. I thought I heard them say it at the review of the warrant, but I might have misunderstood what they said because I was already tuned in that this proposal was in the works. So I might have been hypersensitive. And I'm, unlike Henry, I'm just on my phone. I can't go on the website to see if indeed it is in town meeting article yet.
I'll check also, but I don't think it is because the mountain bikers had to come back before the Concom and they haven't done that.
Yeah,
So,
but they might still have put it on the warrant in hopes that, that your piece will happen. I don't know.
well,
All
the
I'm saying
CPC
is,
the CPC said they were very clear that they wouldn't approve anything without Concom sign off.
Good.
the trouble with all of these, and Janice seems to indicate that there's nothing to do but accept it. But I was trying to think if there's another town site, but any site that's controlled by the Conservation Commission is controlled by it because there are sensitive things. And in this case, it's not just conservation, but it's also history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the problem with making it also a recreational site for mountain bikers.
Right. And maybe you could convince town meeting that it's not a good idea to try to combine a bike trail. You see them on DCR land all the time. They're probably not
Supposed to be there.
authorized, but I know when you walk on up by Cooleyville Road and New Boston Road, there's definitely people riding their bikes through there, and they've cut trails, and good for them. Let them stay there.
We have a long way to go before that comes up again. I know Penny is not excited at all about the mountain biking project and is not going to probably be very supportive of it. I don't know about the Concom. I think, there's different people on the Concom. I can't speak for them.
Yeah.
I know I personally am not a fan of it from my past experience seeing what mountain bikers do.
We protected Southbrook Conservation Area because we wanted to protect it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why we bought it, not to
Right.
turn it into a recreation area.
Right.
Moreover, the issue of surveillance is just not practical. How do you regulate that?
You don't. You
Yeah.
don't. Same thing. I was talking earlier today with someone about cemeteries. People go into those cemeteries, they break off the tops of the fragile stones that are saleable at flea markets, and there's nothing that we can do about it.
Other than not to advertise too much the locations or what's in them. You know, so
Correct.
it's sort of, you feel bad because for people who just love cemeteries like I do, I want to find them. I want to go look at them and take pictures, and that's all I do. But yeah, then you always have to worry about those people that are out there to either cause damage or to steal things, you know,
And
for
profit
profit.
from them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So while we're on that topic, you know, as an aside or a thought about this, if we do go and do some identification, it does not have to go into the public record. We can decide that it is, we can go into executive session to review it and decide if something is more than, if it's more than 150 years old, we can designate it a site or specimen and keep it non-public, the information.
I think it would be good at some point to actually get a lot of the stone features mapped, and there is, you know, there's some of both, and we could just want to be protecting colonial as well as pre-colonial. I think that's the nice part about that conservation area. It has both.
Yeah,
Couldn't they figure out another place to do this? I mean,
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure they can. I think it's going to be a hard sell for them to make that project work. And so, I mean, it's not a done deal at all. I
Seems
mean,
to me it's basically that one guy, the
It's the
guy
one-
that I went out with the Concom, and he'll find help to do it. But they asked, you know, well, have you been down over at, you know, I don't know, at the Quabbin? Have you been over on the Brushy Mountain? No, where's that? It's like he lives across the street somewhere from Southbrook. So that's the area he wants to play in. And he doesn't even know about all these other bike trails that already exist.
right.
we can also ask him at some point to come to a meeting.
Who is the applicant?
His name is Parker, is the last name. Peter, it's not Peter Parker. That's
I know, by Spider-Man, something like that.
something Parker, Brian Parker,
I
something.
don't know. I can't remember.
It's a Parker. It's his last name.
Hmm.
I don't know.
Don't recognize the name, so
Parker.
maybe over on Locks Pond Road or something like that, but
I think so. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. Somewhere over there.
you know, there is that one, as I say, it was all torn up years ago to put in that underground cable. I think it's the one that went from Bear Mountain when it was the, you know, the federal bunker and out to a tower out in Wendell. And that was all discontinued and reverted back to private property owners. But there is that trail that's totally been dug up anyway. And yeah, it's a fun up and down trail. And maybe if that was enough, they got on
Yeah.
at Locks Pond and got off at Ames Haven. But the part about going into the swamp area and going into all the historical parts, the other road that goes down and connects with, sorry about that, I've got an alarm that I can't figure out how to turn off if you're hearing the noise. Oh, the problems are growing
As
old.
long as it's not a smoke detector.
No, it's an alarm that got accidentally set and I don't know how to unset it.
Oh no, that's horrible. The guy's name is Philip Parker. Phil Parker.
Philip Parker,
I
huh?
was close, Peter. It was a P, but Philip.
Yeah.
Parker.
So what I was saying though is, you know, maybe that whole area between the torn up area that heads east and west from Locks Pond to Ames and Noyes Road, which was named after a poor man who they say hung himself. And to this day, I wonder if he hung himself or was hung. Poor Nellie Fisk found him hanging in the woods.
Whoa.
Maybe that whole area could be designated as some kind of delicate historical, without
Yeah.
even getting into Native American historical conservation, and let them use the area that's
I love
closer
that.
to the beach,
I think
the
this
old
is
beach.
great. I think I love this idea. So, so what we need to do is we need to do a little thinking about who can do the training, and then I think we need to think about timing. Janice, am I correct that the fall is a little easier to go bushwhacking?
Well, yeah, when you don't have all the leaves, you're still gonna have mountain laurel, but it really helps not to have all the rest of the leaves. It
Yeah.
really obscures the stones a lot.
Okay,
And it gives more time to do a preliminary run before trying to take a group out there.
okay.
Yeah.
So I still like, so maybe first steps would be going for a walk.
Mhm.
We want to set a date for that?
Okay. Gotta find my calendar. When do you think that you might want to do that?
I don't know. Leslie, would you join us?
If it works, I could, yeah.
Likewise.
What do you guys want? How about you, Henry? Would you come?
Yeah, my schedule is fairly flexible now. It's summer, but yeah, I'd be interested.
Are you talking about summer or are you talking about September?
It's
Well,
a
just for a
preliminary-
walk, just for a
Oh.
preliminary walk.
Oh, okay.
Um, Well, somebody want to propose something? Weekends, I'm guessing, right? Or you work
Any day is good for me.
Yeah,
What?
Any day is good for me.
Any day?
ditto here. I mean,
They're all the same.
What about a weekday morning?
Not-
sure.
Yeah, not a Thursday, but otherwise, yeah.
Let me look my-
Cooler that time.
How
Okay.
about you, Janice? What's your?
I can
availability?
never do Tuesdays, and suppose I could skip my Wednesday morning yoga at 9 to 10 sometime if need be.
Okay, so not Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What about Friday morning, the 4th?
4th of June. Yeah.
June.
Sounds good.
I'm just gonna go run over and get my other calendar. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that sounds good. What time? 8, 9?
Well, I would say early, so it's not hot.
Yes.
I don't get out of work in Amherst until 8:30, so I couldn't make it before 9.
Oh, nine sounds-
Well, why don't we
sounds
say
good.
9?
Yeah. And we'll wait for you.
I was gonna say, don't get there
Lynn?
quarter of and expect me to be there.
Okay, why don't we do 9 o'clock on the 4th?
Let's
Friday.
see. June.
9:15,
9:15, is that better?
Yeah, it'll be.
getting out of work and getting up here in
Yeah.
a half hour is
No,
pushing it, and I don't want you to be waiting for me, and I don't want to be driving too fast.
9:15 sounds good.
On Friday, the 4th of June.
Yeah,
Okay.
June?
Yep. So in what, another week or so, something, whatever that is.
yeah.
Okay. And where are
Karen,
we
would you
going?
be joining? Karen, do you want to be joining us? It's going to be some walking.
Yeah. Well, I can
You try?
give it a good try.
Okay,
Okay.
good. And should we just meet at the parking lot at the beach?
Yeah,
Okay,
at Randall.
Randall Road, yeah. Or what?
That adds quite a bit of hiking to, not quite a bit, but
Yeah.
for some people, it adds extra in. I was gonna say right at the sign, although I don't know that we can, how many cars are we talking? You know, right at the South Brook Conservation Area sign on Locks Pond Road, you can get 2 or 3 cars there. We've done it.
Okay, and I can park a little further away. There's a pull off somewhere across the way a little bit.
That
can-
gets us into the sensitive area right away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds good.
okay, that's good. So you guys can park up at the sign and I will park somewhere down the road that I can find, you know.
Or above the sign too. There's lots of,
okay.
on the side there, there's lots
Okay.
of places to pull out.
Okay, good. That'll be fun. And
I'm going to be
so-
wearing all my tick clothes so nobody laugh.
Oh, I do too.
I
Mine-
have a whole thing going on.
We won't
I
recognize
got
you, right?
netting and a big hat. I don't like bugs on me.
No. Okay, that's good. 9:15 on June 4th, Friday, June
Okay.
4th.
And we're
Okay.
already set for our next meeting at the end of the month in
23rd, is it? I think.
I'm sorry, I can't do that. Okay. I have
Okay.
appointment. Yeah,
Oh.
so take my name off the list.
okay.
Okay, we'll try to do something else with you another time. Get you
Yep.
out there to see stuff.
So, yeah, I guess we're meeting on the
I'd
23rd.
like to go, but
Karen,
I can-
Karen, our next meeting is the 23rd of June at 7 PM.
23rd at
It's
7.
Wednesday.
Okay. Is that it? Then we're
Yes.
closing up.
Oh, we got any other business?
I was just wondering, I guess because it's a site visit, you don't have to post Friday.
No,
Is that correct?
no, we don't.
To walk in the woods.
And I don't know, did you want to, Miriam,
Don't tell the
invite,
town clerk, she might want us to put it on Zoom.
yeah. Do you want to ask anybody from the Concom, or is that preliminary? Should we just do this historical for now?
Yeah, I can ask.
What do you think, guys?
I don't think Liam could come because he works during the day.
Mhm.
So I'm not sure who else we would get.
Yeah. Okay. So we should let Mary Lou know, because she might be interested, and Azelle might be interested as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Henry, you want to do that?
Yeah, let me note it. So we're meeting at the beach at Wyola, is that?
No,
No.
we're meeting on the Locks Pond Road at the South Conservation Area
A
sign.
sign.
Road? Yeah, I'm not familiar with that.
It's,
where-
it'll be on the right side if you're heading out of town. It's
Mhm.
about a mile down from, well, never mind.
From Wendell Road intersection, somewhere in there.
There's a nice brown sign that says Southbrook Conservation Area.
Well, is it where the road forks at Wendell Road there?
Oh,
Keep going past
that's
that.
it.
And I was gonna say about a mile, but that might be more like 3/4 of a mile. It's
But
right opposite Karen Traub's driveway, but I
Oh,
cannot think
okay,
of
yeah.
what her name is, her number is, but I
Ah.
think her
384,
driveway says
364.
Satano Traub on it, so
Yeah.
there's a hint.
Henry, maybe you and I could go together because you're going to be coming past. There'll be one less car to deal with down there.
Oh, could do.
That'd be good.
You know how to get there then?
I do.
Okay, great. We'll coordinate then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we sign off, I need to ask you guys for a little assistance because I accidentally closed a Word doc with my notes and didn't save. So,
Oh.
so just
The
to
order-
remind what I committed to doing, I'm going to be revising that policy.
Yep.
For the planning board.
Yeah, and what
Yeah.
else? Am I?
I have 6 pages here, so I don't know offhand.
You're
You
in
were-
deep trouble, Miriam.
You were gonna do some kind of a write-up for the
Oh, town meeting.
survey?
You and I.
Oh,
will-
right.
meeting?
Town meeting blurb.
Yeah.
You and I will
Thank
do that.
you.
Your survey thing, were you gonna do something about a survey?
I'm gonna look up info for a survey and then, okay, I got it.
That's you and I that'll work on that.
Okay,
And Henry was going to
Yeah, I've written
do
that down.
the CPC thing.
Yeah, and the planning board,
make
related
it on
to
the agenda.
confidentiality agreement.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
I've written down here, AG letter, that's not a concern to us, right? I don't know why I wrote that down here. AG letter.
Maybe it's AC for Andrew Shabbat, his
No,
letter? Something
no,
like that? No, okay,
No. Anyway, forget it.
okay.
I think
I think you were going to attach the CPC bylaw to the select board.
correct.
Is that what
No,
it says?
no, I got that down.
Okay,
That's separate, yeah,
yeah. I don't know.
anyway. All right,
Okay,
All right,
Right.
I'm gonna sign off.
all right.
We adjourn?
Yeah, well, I think we have to go to formality, right?
We do.
Move to adjourn, second,
I second.
all say aye.
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 Okay,
Aye.
everybody.
all right,
The ayes have it.
See you
The
next
ayes
week.
have it.
See you soon.
all right. Thanks.
Bye all.
Bye.
Bye.
Everyone keep well.
You too.
Yeah,
Bye.
you too.
You too.